week, we're going to be looking at our um, Advanced GIS module, Module 1. And if you want to work with any of the in-class examples or examples that you see within the modules, then you'll want to download and unzip the Lecture 1 zip folder. That will allow you to take the contents and put it on your C or D drive on your local computer. That way you can follow along with things that we'll be doing. The objectives for this week's module are, first, to classify and describe the field or raster view of reality. Second, to contrast the field view or raster view, two names for the same thing, of reality with the vector view of reality, right here, so that you can be able to describe the differences and the advantages and disadvantages of both of those. Then define the composition of a raster dataset. So what is a raster dataset composed of? And explain the difference between the simple and extended raster model, which is part of the composition of a raster dataset, and distinguish between the composition of a raster layer and a raster data format. And finally, examine the properties of a raster layer. And this information that you'll be doing in this week's module goes along with exercise 1. And I want you to keep this in mind as you go through the different module and submodules, that knowing which commands to issue in the GIS software is very helpful. But if you're not able to formulate a model prior to using the software, you will likely produce little that is useful. This is akin to being fully proficient with your word processor. Although the skill is important, it's not enough for you to be able to write a best-selling novel. This is why we're not all Stephen King, for example. So what this is telling us is that just because you can put something into a GIS system or operation and not get an error, it doesn't mean that what comes out is necessarily good. So always keep that in mind every time you do something within